All right. Hey, leadership today is no longer just about titles, revenue, or strategy. It's about how you communicate, adapt, and create trust at scale. Sarah Chaudhary understands that dynamic so deeply. And today, we're diving into the mindset and experiences shaping her professional journey in different areas. Sarah, welcome to the Go for CEO channel. How are you?
Thank you so much, John. I appreciate, first of all, thank you so much for bringing me here. Your podcast is really very valuable, and I go through some of them, very much all of those, but it's amazing. Thanks for
Uh,
that. For as for myself, what I do, I'm from here in North Carolina, and I'm here for last 20 plus years. I work
mm,
in IT and tech in about like 20 plus year, work with a 150 different organization, Fortune 500. And now I am working full time on my ventures under ICE Innovations. We are a portfolio company building multiple ventures, but one these are active right now. I'm working as a startup. One is ICE Rideshare. Rideshare seems like it's an Uber and Lyft, but it's a merge of Uber and Turo. Plus, it is also very economic for the driver. It's a subscription based rideshare. In North Carolina, we started. Second is food tech, which is iChefs. And then we have a True Angles AI, which is a basically pocket EQ for the businesses, for the HR to make emotion intelligence increment in your industry to get more productivity. So alongside with
mm.
that, I run Rewide Institute, which is a neuroscience-based coaching practice for high-performing founders. And I author four books. The latest one is Quantum Code of Wealth, and I will be and I work there most kind of like your inner identity and how you basically need to change in yourself and how you make a proper mindset to become what you want to become in the line of entrepreneur. So that's all about me. Thank you, John.
Just a couple things, right? So awesome, awesome. Well, look, obviously part of the Go for CEO channel is really getting to the chance to know a little bit about
Mhm.
you, right? A little bit of the background and then understanding the
Mhm.
mindset of what you do in different verticals of your business or just life in general. So take us back a little bit. You said you've been in North Carolina about 20 something years.
Yes.
I know you're only 19, 20 years old. So,
Thank you so much.
where was your background? Where was your family very entrepreneurial before you came around
Sure.
and set the pace, or were you a more
Mhm.
of a corporate person? What's the background?
Yes, so thank you for appreciation. I'm 43 years old and I've been in North Carolina for 20 plus years. Prior to that, I stayed in St. Louis, Missouri for a while, and I came in USA from Pakistan. I
Mm.
originally studied my undergrad from there, then I did master's and PhD in USA. I'm a mother and also pretty ordinary on the surface. But I'm someone who always been a little obsessed with how things work and why people get stuck. So kind of
Mm.
like a curious kind of like a mentality. But yeah, I am very care about women's, especially their foundation and especially their growth. That's my long-term vision for to. That's why I have a non-profit Talim, which is more focused on the women education and awareness of the education. So as for background, I'm very good in the books. I love reading books, and that's why I think I go into the writing books as well and attain the PhD for that. But as a background, I work with since last 20 years. I work with the corporates, a lot of corporate I work with, and really enjoy it and get a lot of benefit out of that. All this learning for 20 years. But after that, I felt it like that I should have something not for the legacy perspective, but something that I care more about. Like I just kept following the problems. I care and I heard about that, and that the portfolio is what happened along the way. So, and for example, the rights share space, I felt it broken, so I'm rebuilding it. Same like on the food tech, felt stuck, so iChef is basically around it. And iChef has a story. When I was doing the PhD, I figure out I did data because I'm in data for the last 20 years. I'm mostly in the data and AI. That's my basic thing. And then I build a strategy around it for the organizations for consulting career when I was working there. So during my PhD, I discovered that 75% of digestive gut problems increase in last 15 years. And when we find out what could be the potential a reason for that, there was one of the reason was one of the factor was relying too much on because Uber Eats, Dasho, these are on their fingertips. We rely more on the restaurant foods versus 15 years ago. We often go to restaurant once in a month or what whenever we have some occasion or something. But now if you're hungry, you just go every second or third day. And those preservatives, those food, they are very low in nutrition because when you add preservatives in your food that lower your nutrition, almost cut it. You are bringing fish, you're thinking fried fish or something like that, thinking it's protein, but it's not because they put preservative to keep it fresh for maybe 1 year or 3 months or 4 months in the freezer. And now you're making it and now you're eating it. You're not getting nutrition, but actually you're messing up your gut. That's why I started iChef. So iChef is a basically home food cooked based on your demand or whatever chef cooked today, fresh will be picked up from the chef house and delivered at your house. That's all it's about. And you can maybe you have some grandma's recipe you want to put over there, it will embed it automatically, and then chef can make on demand as well. You can bid on the price. Plus, we have different other features like if you are very kosher, halal, or organic, so you can order grocery as well and get 20% discount. So this is just a story about like how I started my ventures one by one. So yeah.
No, it's interesting, right? Obviously, as an entrepreneur and someone that can see vision or see
Mhm.
opportunity or see problems to be solved,
Mhm.
you can kind of go in many different directions, right? So
Yes. Yeah.
tie in, obviously, you've been working with AI,
Mhm.
for many years, and for the regular layman people like myself, we've kind of come into AI in the new discovery of it the last maybe
Yeah.
6 to 12 to 18 months, right? Started hearing
Mhm.
things. So based on the track record that you've had,
Mhm.
what were some identified issues? Because this is one of them in the food industry that you
Mhm.
identified, and then you created a solution, like you said, like an Uber type Eats, but a
Yes.
freshness, go to
Yeah.
the consumer business to consumer side. But how do you stay, is the technology what leads the innovation, or is your ideas based on solutions backed by AI and technology?
Yes, that's a really good question and very thought-provoking because yes, AI really make our life pretty much easier. Uh, because now the vibe coding and all this stuff, pretty much stuff you can see as well. And a lot of people talk about AI, but the right narrative sometimes is still missing because the conversation has collapsed into two camps. The hype camp that says AI will destroy everything, and or others say that AI will solve everything, right? Both are lazy. I think we should have a like a kind of like a hybrid conversation. The one actually matters for builder. Is this like AI is not a product, it's an operating layer, and whoever builds that layer responsibly will define the next 20 years. And whoever built it carelessly, they will spend maybe next couple of years just cleaning up the mess. So that's the main idea for builders. And here's how I think about AI, John, because um, a lot of people, especially who are not very much into AI, they say, "What can AI do?" That's the wrong question. The right question is like, what should AI decide for you and what should it never decide? Because we are not building tools anymore. I just mentioned about the vibe coding. Vibe coding, you can build any app or your website on doing the vibe coding using Cloud Code, using Cursor. There are different tools right now. And good thing about that, you can ask those tools to teach you as well. So, so now we are not building the tools anymore. We are building the systems that make judgments. For example, a recommendation engine is a judgment. A hiring filter when you do an HR is a judgment as well. Same like when you do the content moderation as a podcaster, as a content management, that's a judgment as well. And the moment you build something kind of like a judgment making system, you have inherited that moral responsibility, whether you wanted it or not. So it is over there. So my entire approach to AI across every venture I touch, and I definitely use AI, start there, not with a capability, with a responsibility. So responsible AI is not a compliance checkbox, it's more kind of like a technical leadership position. It shows
Mm.
up in the architecture, not the marketing deck. Uh, I have a three principles. You can say it's a check mark that whenever I build into everything. Number one, transparency by design. If a model makes a decision that affects human life, that human should be able to understand why. Like black boxes are a leadership failure, not a technical limitation. Number two, humans in loop where it matters. Not everywhere, that's inefficient, but in the high stakes moment, like hiring, like healthcare, education, finance, or any automation where oversight negligence get dressed up as innovation, right? And number three, I very care about that one with heart, that is a bias auditing as a continuous practice, not a one-time audit before launch, a live ongoing practice, because model keep drifting, data keep shifting, and what was fair yesterday can be in course harm tomorrow if you're not watching. So continuous auditing is one of the things I always care about. And how I tie this one into my ventures. So ICE Innovations is a AI native, but the AI shows up differently in each way. For example, in the rideshare, AI is what let us finally optimize for driver well-being alongside riders' experience and safety as well. Predictive routing that protects the driver income, fatigue detection, and also dynamic earning models. The big
Mm.
platform used AI to squeeze the driver right now, and we are using it to basically lift them. And in iChef, it personalized the nutrition and food experience at a level in the industry has been promising for a decade and never delivered. And real personalization, like based on your biology, preferences, context, and not a recommendation widget or something, pretend to be intelligence, but the real one. And at True Angles AI is completely AI-based product. We have fed the RAG models with a really good data over there, which is we are authorized to use related different emotional intelligence and different competency like self-awareness. That's one of the basic things that you should have that one as a start when you start learning about emotional intelligence, just self-awareness and how you work on that. So this is an eight competency that we cover, but for MVP we only use the two interpersonal skills and your awareness, self-awareness. And underneath all of it is a Rewire Institute, which is AI is helping scale neuroscience-based coaching. And that way, there was impossible 5 years ago, like pattern detection, personalization, longitudinal tracking, the work I used to do in 101 container, now we can extend to 1,000 without losing any kind of depth.
Mm. I mean, it's obviously transforming so many different things.
Mhm.
From a technical side, it's always great to have people like yourself, right? Being kind of the back end and understanding
Mhm.
the complexity of it. From a
Yeah.
front end, right? I'm a finance, commercial banking guy. I have
Mhm.
the channel, the podcast. I wrote a book, and I'm trying to
Mhm.
always figure out, like, hey, in the last 6 to 12 months, what can it help me
Mhm.
accelerate? What can it help me do better? What areas and functions can it replace that I don't have to do manually? That's kind of some of my
Mhm.
goals, right? So it's an
Yeah.
interesting time. I would like to go back to, I mean, obviously you spent, 20 something years
Mhm.
in the corporate world. You're saying that, kind of built up that formation of your mind and the things that you did
Mhm.
and your education that you got.
Yeah.
But then, what was that striking moment for you when you thought, okay, hey, this is the right time, or maybe it wasn't the perfect time, but you saw opportunity to go on your own and start to develop and build your entrepreneurial side?
Yes, this is a really great question. And one of the things, some people think that maybe I was tired or I go through some kind of a vulnerable kind of a things. But honestly, John, there was not a one big lightning strike moment. It was a more of a like slow burn that finally cracked. So I have spent amazing years inside enterprise tech. Uh, I watch the same patterns play out over and over, like brilliant system being built, but the humans they were supposed to serve were getting flattened by them. For example, I
Mm,
will again give an example like drivers in the rideshare were getting squeezed, students in education were getting standardized, and people interacting with food tech were being treated like a data points instead of human beings. And one day I just stopped waiting for someone else to fix it. I remember thinking, like,
mm,
if I keep waiting for the right founder to show up, I'm going to spend my whole career complaining about products I could have built myself. That was a basically moment and not dramatic, but more kind of like clarifications. And you see like when you have a everything career where paper everything looks good and the title, the salary, the stability and recognition, but there is I always felt this hollow ache that I couldn't explain. I had everything I was supposed to want. Something in me knew I was building someone else's vision instead of my own. And I think that is something a lot of founders actually, start waking up because they have a brilliant idea. And the good thing about maybe it's a personality or some, I don't procrastinate at all. If I have something in my, neither I am like in a rush kind of a things. I think about it, I plan it, I create a strategy because I'm a very strategical person. I plan it and I see like how the systems can be improved, where should I can start or something like that. So this is the one how I, there's a moment or just kind of a thing.
okay, that's fair. I mean, it doesn't always have to be a lightning strike, but that slow
Mm,
burn is so cool, right? Because, I would say, did you spend your time from 9 to 5 typically is plan A or a job, right? If you're working in corporate
mm,
America or a bit or somebody else's business. But were you the
yep.
type of person that would go home, eat a meal, maybe spend time with family,
Hmm.
but then also dedicate some time for your entrepreneurial thoughts? Did you start
Yes.
to put plans together? Did you find a
Oh
vision
yeah.
at night to think to yourself, okay, here's
Yes.
kind of the dream that I have, those types of
Mm.
things? Okay.
Yes, exactly. So one of the thing I recently had I made that content as well because I upload some content. There's a very popular 4 a.m. founders kind of a things going on everywhere. Like, oh, every founder wake up at 4 a.m. and then they go to 5 a.m. meditation and then they walk and this and that. And then that's why they are founded. That's why they're Jeff Bezos. That's why they're Elon Musk because
Mm,
they wake up at 4 a.m. I tried multiple times. I couldn't. And then when I started working 4 years ago on my inner identity and understanding your quantum basically energy and consciousness, and I figure out every person has a different clock. There is
mm,
no single theory that you must wake up in the morning or something like that. I'm myself a night person. So I love to sleep until 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. Then I can have more energy at night. So after going for my work, since my college days as well, I remember I wake up at 9 a.m. when my class actually going to start in 15 minutes. I just rush to wash and brush my teeth and run to my college. And my friends over there, I knew it. You just woke up, so I say, yeah. So I always kind of like that person. But now I make this kind of because I got more energy at night. After my when I was working as a corporate from 9 to 5, after 5 p.m. I spend some time with my kids, and after 7 p.m. be more kind of like 8 to 10 p.m. is my high energy zone where I start writing, looking into my business, do some coding, talk to my all the ventures and see how can I improve it. And the good thing with AI is that work that I used to complete in 1 month, I can do in 2 days. That's amazing thing.
mm,
But
mm,
I still work 4 days to review those 2 days that I have done because I want to make sure that there is a because AI is amazing tool, awesome. It could be your best personal assistant, but it cannot do the creative thinking, create critical thinking. It cannot be creative at all. That's our human identity, and that can never be replaced by any AI tool. So we are
mm.
creative, we have a critical thinking. AI can never be creative for you. AI will never do anything by its own. And the reason behind this is only one thing, because AI is not free will. We are free will, and we can think anything, we can do any act, or because it's on our hand, right? How much we can do, how much capacity we have, and how much we improve ourselves. So that's all about about the AI. And when I work, so I make sure that I make it with my own ideas. I brainstorm my ideas, and then I use AI to make it implement it faster.
So take us through, Sarah, one of your typical days, obviously, from coming from corporate America and having kind of that
Hmm.
structure, a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners struggle with having, a structure. So if you don't mind sharing, you've got multiple businesses, you've got your hand in different things. I'm assuming, you check in and you have people report to you certain data
Hmm.
analytics and these types of things. What does a typical day look like for you at this moment of, managing two or three or four different businesses?
Yes, that's a great, and I will mention one really great book that my coach actually suggested me. This book name is Buy Back Your Time.
Mm.
And I love that book because an amazing thing is that when I tried to buy it, it was unavailable and I have to wait 2 days. And finally, I'm more audible person, so I listen it while I'm working or driving or something. So basically, that's a something that where I start working on structurize my life. And for that, I built a tool as well. It's called Zora.app, Zuura.app. So what the specific book tell you, like you have to figure out, you have to track your time, what you do from start to the end, and then you have to write everything. For example, I took the breakfast, I took my dog out, or I talked to my daughter, or something like everything. Like you have, or drop my daughter, pick up my kids, or I start working on this, or have a kind of like a brainstorming session. So this is the basically thing you have to write everything. And after 1 week, it will automatically make the quadrant, and you have to put like which what give you energy, what costs you. Maybe something give you energy but it costs you, something burn your energy, it costs you energy but is give you dollars, right? So these kind of thing you have to put over there, and after 1 week you will figure out what costing your energy most and what actually giving you energy. So this way you can start eliminating those tasks that was more kind of a noise instead of signal. So more the signal you have, more the your brain will naturally, you will say builder brain. It becomes this. So because my brain, for example, wants to chase the most interesting problem in the room. And when you have three ventures, every room has interesting problem. So early on, I was burning out. I was reactive, not strategical. So I was the bottleneck in every one of my own companies. So the structure I run today exists because the lack of it's actually broke me. So basically, how this week looks like my life, like holding company CEO runs multiple portfolio, not a way like founders run a startup. Like mornings are when I wake up, especially 9 or 10 a.m. These after 10 a.m. I start looking into my emails, responding more kind of like administration work. So then I start like any before any ventures get a minute of my attention, I do the inner work for sure. I do the journaling. I do the body work. I mostly I do at night, but it depends when because it's definitely your nervous system definitely needs that day. So this is a pressure, a kind of like a if you are not regulated, a dysregulated founder make bad decision across different ventures. So
Mm.
I protect that window like a revenue because it is. Then I batch my venture, not a task. Like Mondays might be I write sheer deep work. Tuesday would be I chefs. Wednesday would be more cafe true angles, and Thursday I will more focus on Revive Institute or my non-profits, and Fridays are more kind of like an integration, like strategy across all of them, plus writing, speaking, preparation, these kind of the things. So context switching is a silent killer of a portfolio founders. Like more people lost 40% of their cognitive capacity bouncing between this context or other context. And I refuse to pay that tax. And I believe that every venture has a leadership layer underneath me. So I'm not the operator in any of these companies anymore. If I am doing the operator work, something's broken in the structure. So my job is three things like capital allocations, pattern recognition, and then removing the bottlenecks. So that's it. And everything else gets delegated, automated, or eliminated. So everything's are like evenings when I work with, after maybe 4 or 5 p.m. Evenings are sacred for me. It's for family, reading, no screen after a certain hours because next day clarity is, built that night before. So,
Hmm. That's an interesting, process that you have, right? And I think
mhm,
a lot of people, they struggle with adapting something that maybe hasn't felt normal to them, right?
mhm,
Like you said, the messaging out there is work 4 a.m. till 12
yeah,
a.m., right? And sleep
yes.
3.5 hours and get back up again and
No way,
and do
no
it
way.
again,
Sleep
right?
is, yeah,
So
sleep is very important. This is I
yeah,
learned really very hardly
yeah.
because if you are not going to sleep back, and I start with wearing a device Whoop, which tells you about like
Uh-huh.
your recovery every day. For example, if I am today, my recovery is 80%, and yesterday it was 40%, and 40% because I only slept 5 hours. And now
Mm,
my watch tells me that Sarah, you need to no workout today. You have to do the recovery, do your light yoga or something like that. Stretch yourself, but no exercise or nothing, no strength training for today, because I didn't sleep much. So sleep is very important thing. It's not only regulate your body, it's actually protect your neurons in your brain and actually multiply them as well. So it's
mm.
your body definitely needs sleep for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously, some people function just as good on six, then eight, then nine, and
Exactly.
then four.
True.
But yeah, it's kind of the same notion that you said earlier, right? Every human being is a
Hmm.
little bit different. So,
Yeah.
but it's interesting to try to sell the one way is not the
Hmm.
way, right?
Yes,
And that's an
exactly.
interesting part of it. So, well, Sarah, we leadership and marketing. So right now, how
Mhm.
are you treating those two areas? You mentioned having a leadership team placed underneath you so that
Mhm.
maybe you just get input, on a daily. Do you get KPI inputs, data inputs daily from each of the teams? How do you manage
Mhm.
that leadership component?
Yes, and I have a very laid back kind of a leadership uh, style. As I mentioned, like I'm a night builder, data driven kind of a CEO. And the structure, like how I built is, I think of myself in three roles. Like every day, I'm allocating across them, like leadership, marketing, and data. Again, not operational, not task based, because those just three layers. For example, leadership is the people layer. Each venture under IC Innovations has its own team, and my job is to lead the leaders, not to be in the weeds. So I'm running 101s, unblocking decision time, I setting strategic direction, and making sure that each leadership team is aligned with the bigger vision across the portfolio. If I'm operating instead of leading, the structure could be broken because uh, this is more kind of like a delegation. My work is more kind of like I need to create a good strategy that my team can follow and make sure that they're aligned with them. I don't just give kind of like some order or something. We work together with them. And marketing is a visibility layer, and this is the one most founder sometimes underestimate. I treat marketing as a CEO function, not a department. Like
Mm,
brand narrative, like thought leadership, the speaking, and the books I write, the course contribution I make, that's not vanity, that's the distribution. In a noisy market right now, the founder's voice is the most important thing. And I spend the real time on it daily because this is how you build trust. This is how people know you, and this is how they will, trust in your products as well. And data is where I love the most. I live the most over there. Every venture I run, I am in the KPIs. I'm not asking my teams for a report. I am in the dashboard myself, like acquisition cost, retention, total retention time, lifetime value, then conversion, unit economics, cohort behaviors, these kind of a thing. And across rideshare, food tech, and ad tech, these metrics are different, but the discipline in all of them is identical. And numbers don't lie. Like founders sometimes estimate by their own self, but they have to go through with very detailed dashboard that keep us honest. And on the data side, John, so because most of the founder fails that they realize it because most founder when they run their company on vibes and call it intuition, which is also part of a humanity because intuition has to have its own importance. But when you feel like things going well, they feel like team is performing, it's like marketing is working. Feeling is not strategy. I run every venture against that tight set of KPIs that I review weekly. No exceptions over where. Because I have a startups, I am not like a very mature product of 10, 15 years. But for example, I see right here is driver retention, ride completion rate, driver earnings stability, right? Or NPS and for iChef, same like order frequency, personalization, accuracy, these kind of things, like food cost margins. So this is a kind of like a dashboard, and this is the actually move, like change things for me. I just don't track KPIs. I track the leading indicators of this KPI. So this is how the leadership side does a biggest shift. Basically, from the data, I make a portfolio founder it was not like was letting go of being the smarter person in every room. So when you run one company, you can be deepest expert in your own business, but when you run multiple, that's structurally impossible. So I had to redefine the leadership that's meant for me and for my team as well.
Hmm. Now, so were any of the businesses that you run now and own, were they acquisitions or they were all ground up startups?
They're all grown up startup, no
Okay.
acquisitions so far.
Okay. And one question I always have and ask
Mm,
guests is what were some of the revenue, components that said to you, okay, hey,
mm,
now it's time to, increase my talent pool, right?
mm,
Each business starts with one or couple, partners per se, but
mm,
there's a strategy behind, hey, you reached a 500,000 in revenue. Now it's time to bring
mm,
on a $80,000, talent. You reached $1 million. Now I need two C-suites or whatever,
mm.
something like that. So what were some of those, I guess, components and timeframes that said to you, okay, hey, we've reached a certain revenue. Now we can start to perform and bring in the right talent.
Yes, revenue strategy has been built could be not only around the talent, but it's also about improvement as well. So I make the components. For example, if I have a specific revenue timeline, and I think like it's one of the the basically revenue is a system, not a number. And until you understand the system underneath your own number, you can actually grow it on purpose. It could be in the like the core pieces is like that it has three levers on my side, like how I think about.
Mhm.
Sometimes the founders they obsess about acquisition, like how do I get more customers, and they neglect the other two, which is the real compounding happens, like new customers, new drivers, new learner, new user. This is the loud level, marketing, sales, partnership, important but expensive. Then retention and expansions, like keeping who you already have and getting them to spend more over the time. This is a quiet level, and it is like one of the actually build enterprise value. For example, a 5% improvement in retention can do more for the bottom line than a 30% increase in acquisition. So, and the mistake I see as earlier when I was a founder, like is like pulling all the three levers at once. That's no strategy. That's kind of like a panic. So, how I work in here, like team scaling and revenue scaling are not the same thing, and
Mm.
confusing them is the one of the most expensive mistake can I do. The default move is like when revenue grows, you can hire more people. That's a reactive scaling. Is how companies sometimes become bloated and slow. The mature move is build the team ahead of the revenue curve in these strategical seeds And behind the revenue curve is the operational stage. So what does that mean is like uh, strategical hires lead the revenue. Like a great head of revenue, a great CMO, a great head of product, those people create revenue for you. You hire them before you can technically afford them because they pay for themselves several times over.
Hmm.
Operational hires, they follow the revenue, like customer support, operations, fulfillment, those scales with demand, not ahead of it. So you hire them once the system is creaking, not before. The so founders who get this backward either hire operations too early and strangle their margins, or they hire strategy too late and stay stuck at the same revenue ceiling for the year. So I say it like compounding there. So I revenue because it's not linear, it's compounding, and but only if they built it that way. So if you build the linear revenue and wonder why they have to start from scratch every month, so you need to do the recurring revenue wherever possible, like subscriptions, retainers, contracts, predictable beats large, and then referral architecture, like your best customer should be your cheapest acquisition channel. If they are not your product or your experience, then this has a gap. And brand equity that lowers acquisition cost over the time. And I will be honest, I had to learn this hard way. Earlier on, I was on kind of like acquisition obsessed, like everyone else. I thought like revenue was a top of funnel problem. It's not. Revenue is more kind of like a middle and bottom of funnel problem dressed up as a like a top funnel issue. So once I rewrite how I thought about it, and yes, that's why it's a trajectory of every venture that I run start changing as well after going that strategy.
Well, I'll tell you what, Go for SEO community, that last 2 minutes there that
Mm-hmm.
Sarah shared is a very strategic way of thinking, right? Very too many times, right? You get into business and like you said, there's some leading indicators that you feel like that helps you make your decision when in fact, like you described, there's two different areas and there are different components and understanding that complexity of it and making it simple to then drive the way that you want to go. So really, really awesome stuff. I love that last part there. So as we end the interview, we typically go through CEO, right? So C
Mm-hmm.
is client experience, and I have multiple businesses. So maybe from a holistic standpoint, what is the
Mm-hmm.
value proposition when people see this podcast, they see your
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn profile, they see your website, like what should people expect as a value proposition and client experience doing business with your companies?
Yes, one of the things that I mentioned earlier as well was like a ride share, for example, is not B2B. It's a more kind of like and I think that every all of I share for True Angles or Talim, my value proposition as a leader is like something if they work with me, uh, is how they can live it and experience it. So this is, and I have been operating as a CEO across multiple ventures for 2 years now, not as like a title or something like that. And when I talk about like when people see me, when they should understand what I have learned over the time, right? Like for example, I learned like every problem in a company eventually traces back to CEO, not a guilty way, but in the ownership way. The
Mhm.
culture is your reflection, and the team's clarity is your reflection as well, and the strategy coherence. So people should accept something kind of like a honesty over our harmony. That's a non-negotiable. And I will tell you the truth, like even when it's uncomfortable, because I respect too much to manage, feelings instead of your outcomes. So comfortable conversation don't change businesses' life. Like depth over speed is one of the thing. I normally don't give easy answer just to look helpful. I will go with the actual route, even it takes longer. Like surface level advice is the most expensive advice you can take because it costs you the time you spend implementing the wrong thing, right? So, and the skin in the game, when I commit to the something, I commit fully. I'm not casual operator, as I mentioned earlier. I'm not a casual partner or coach. If I am in, I am in. And finally, accountability that runs the both way. I hold people around me to a high standard, and I expect them to hold to one as well, the best for others. So That's a proposition. Like, say, if I had to put my whole value proposition in one sentence, John, it would be like I help people see what they couldn't see, build what they couldn't build, and become who they couldn't become alone. That's it. Whether it's through a venture, a book, a coaching engagement, or a podcast like this, same mission, but different vehicle.
I like it. I like it. Over the last 45, 60 days, I've been kind of doing a little bit of a transition myself and finding some inner, voices that
Mhm.
say, okay, hey, here's who I serve, right? The
Mhm.
ICP, then who's my ideal client? And, for 15 years or so, I've been commercial banking and, wrote a
Mhm.
book with the 4A formula and the Go for Show podcast. And, sometimes you can get a little distracted of kind of who is it that you really, really serve. So I love the way that you put it there, and you ended it with a mic drop, as they call it. So, um,
Thank you.
the second one is E for engagement, and this is personal. So, Sarah,
Mhm.
how do you like for your vendors, for your employees, for your family, for the people that
Mhm.
just like to spend time with? What's the best way to engage with you? Do you like dinners? Are you an events person? Do you
Mhm.
like music? Do you like to go to concerts? Like, that is the question: is how could people understand Sarah by engaging with you?
Yes, that's great thing because I'm not that kind of a party person. Like normally, people love to go to party and meet you. Because for me, noise more than noise, I'm very signal person. So I have a multiple ways for people to engage with me. Depends on where they are in journey, but I will walk them through with the lightest touch to the deepest. So for the entry point, I would say like I would like to meet, of course, virtually someone first. And I don't say like I do run full intel on them, but I before meeting anyone, I want to make sure that I know those people. How is it? Because one of the things that with Rewire Institute, very important thing that I have learned over the time, you have to understand the energy you are getting with. So I would like to meet in coffee store, for example, if I will be go for a coffee for first, and then I will see like how much energy we are exchanging and how much, the patterns we have actually, running, and I will see the where how much noise it is, just give me energy or some kind of a like that. And other than that, that's I'm very active on LinkedIn. I write regularly, share framework and breakdowns. I have a calendar links over there as well. If anybody want to in touch with me, they can always have in touch with me with scheduling a meeting. I go by calendar. If it's not in calendar, then it's not going to be happening. And then I will love to, I love watching movies with my friends, and I do keynotes, fireside chats are my very favorite thing, and executive workshops. I love those, and also I love painting. I do painting, oil painting as well. If somebody want to join me or learn some little bit, I would love to do that as well. So these kind of things I do, and I love going to training. If I got my yoga partner or my gym partner, I love that.
Okay. Well, thank you, Sarah. I mean, I know it's a unique question, and it's so
Yeah.
particular to the person, right? So I've had from
Yes.
rock climbing to, regular events and sporting events and stuff like that. So it's really
Mm.
interesting to know a little bit more about you from an engaging standpoint. So,
This is amazing question. I love it. Yes.
thank you, thank you. So, last one is operational excellence, and obviously, you've
Hmm.
shared. I love the way that you shared the component of managing and leading, three
Hmm.
different companies. So, from a tool perspective, are you guys using Claude? Are you using Monday.com? Are you using Go High
Hmm.
Level? Like, what are some tools that you use within each one of the companies to be able to be operationally excellent?
Yes, there are so many tools out market, and one of the things is that I see that when you have a hype of a lot of tool, you become, like move into or you get into that mud that what to
Mm,
use. So operation is basically where founders quietly fail, honest speaking. When you have a vision, you have a strategy, you have a team, you have a day-to-day machine underneath as well. So the tool is something that I would say like Monday.com is a great tool. I love Cloud myself. I love Cursor. Cursor is a great tool as well. Recently, Cloud Cowork. I love that as well, though it's taking a
mm.
lot of tokens. But I personally like Cloud Code, which is great. I use Gemini as well, Chat GPT. I don't use much now, but initially, of course, when we have only that. So, but for example, for project manager management and all the stuff, for the three ventures, I love Trello. Trello is my one
Mm,
of favorite tool for project management and all this stuff. It's give me more kind of like a visibility with colors to like I need without chaos of Slack threads or scattered emails. And for thinking and writing and AI augmented work, I use Cloud. And I will be honest, John, because it has changed my game more than any tool I have used in the last decade. I use Cloud as a strategic thought partner. It's basically synthesize my ideas and data
mm,
across this venture as well. It helped me preparing the content for the stress testing ideas before I take them to the team. So it's not a replacement for thinking. There's a thin line between it. It's an accelerator for thinking. So I would rather have 1 hour with a sharp AI partner than 5 hours alone in a document trying to, get my ideas straight. And
mm,
for communication, a tight setup of Slack inside every venture and email for external as well. I kept my own communication windows tight, so I'm not in Slack all day, but I batch. And for data and dashboards, every venture has own analytic layer, but I aggregate and executive level KPIs into single view, and I review it weekly. And underneath all of it is the automation. Wherever a process repeat more than 3 times, I automate it or I delegate it. This is the one my you can say motto. So
mhm,
like the job of a portfolio CEO is not to do the work, it is to design the system that do the work without me. So that's what I normally use. And I think the operational discipline is the one of the like because the tools are 20%, the discipline of using them is 80%. I have seen a lot of people founders with a best stack in the world and a zero traction because they don't actually run it the ritual like that make the stack work. The rituals matter more than the tool. And my weekly rituals like Monday morning I have reviewed every board across every venture, where we are, what's blocked, what's need my decision. 30 minutes done. Wednesday midweek, I will check the KPI dashboards. Numbers tell me where to spend the back half of my week, right? And Friday, I do the portfolio level synthesis. What did I learn this week that apply across different ventures or anything? What pattern is emerging? And this is where I use cloud heavily to help me see across the noise. Without the rituals, the tool are just expensive software, and with the rituals, the tool become leverage. And I do try new tools, like I create AI videos sometime, and I use Kling.ai. I love that tool.
mm.
It has the voice. It make your prompts into the video, and a very beautiful video. So with audio as well, you don't have to separate use 11 labs. I used to do Mid Journey for that earlier, and then I make the Mid Journey and make on the CapCut together, and then add the voice separately. But Fling.ai mix this all. You can make 15-second, 5 or 10, and then put them on CapCut and make a beautiful video. It could be your advertising or marketing video, something like that. And they're very generous on the token as well. Not much expensive, but I used to work with Flow as well on Google, but I really love Kling much better.
Sweet. Well, Go for Show Community. I had not heard of that particular one. I know of HeyGen and Claude and I think it's called Sandskeep or there's so
Yes,
many of
yeah,
them,
there's
right?
so many.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So it's interesting, but it's really interesting that what came out of that operationally excellent share right now is that you're very
mm,
systematized, right? And you
yes,
you
exactly.
prioritize certain activities that elevate the
Mm,
tools, not the tools elevating you,
mm,
right? You said, right, and
exactly.
which
True.
is I really really enjoy because I have a handful of good friends that are in the MSP IT space, and they say, look, honestly,
Mm,
many companies are over over tech stacked, right? They're not using
yes,
60-70% of the tech stack that somebody sold them,
true.
and they don't know how to really integrate it
Mm,
the right way, or they don't have the practices and the daily routines as well to maximize with the
true.
tools. Awesome stuff, Sarah.
Exactly.
Well, what a pleasure to have you on. Share with everybody, what's the best way to communicate with you? Are you a DM person on LinkedIn? Do you like emails directly? Should people go through your team first? What's the best way to connect with you and do business with your companies?
Yes, the best way to go to LinkedIn. You can DM me on the LinkedIn, and then I can share my email as well over there. So, and second, my website, my own name, sarahchaudhary.com. You will find all of my ventures, everything over there as well. And actually, Cloud helped me make that website too.
Ah, nice,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
All
So
right.
yes, LinkedIn
That
and my website is the best way. Yep.
awesome, awesome. Well, hey, anybody that's joined us over the last 20, 30, 40 minutes and you haven't subscribed to the channel, these are the types of people that we have on the Go for CEO channel. CEOs, founders, entrepreneurs, and intrapreneurs as well. And then also, if you haven't picked up my book, The 4A Formula, Untangle Any Challenge and Think Like a CEO at goforceo.com or on Amazon. So, Sarah, what a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much. This is why I love doing podcasting because who knows if I would have ever met you before, but you hired a team, you got on the podcast. Now we can be, someone that knows each other, connect with each other,
Yeah.
and hopefully do business in the future as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, John. I really appreciate it.